welcome to episode 60 of the Odyssey Hours. Means it's another milestone. Anytime we hit another 10 episodes, I'm going to call it that. And so this is going to be an extra special episode just because I said so. Unfortunately, she may pop in later, but Haley is not able to join us at the start. Do not know if she will be here at all. So depends on her mood, I guess. So Sam, watch for her and then yell at her to get on when she comes home.
I'm going to leave that decision to her, I think.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, she hasn't been getting home until after 9 recently. So.
Oh, okay. Well, that's understandable then. So hopefully she'll be on. If not, you have us, the rest of us. So that's for the second time in the last 20 minutes to use this phrase. That's nothing to shake a stick at. And I have no idea why that is suddenly coming up in my head, but it's here. So before we begin, I just wanted to tell everybody that yesterday you almost lost your fearless leader.
Okay.
It was crazy. I nearly impaled myself on a Kit Kat bar.
On a Kit Kat bar?
Yes. It was terrible. I almost died. My life flashed before my eyes, and it wasn't even all that interesting.
Okay. Tell us about it. Give us the rundown.
All right. So here we go. So as most of you know, part of my second job now is to be in a truck all day. And so while I was waiting for to leave a stop because I couldn't before a certain time, I decided I would take out my phone and, mess around on it because that's what we do when we have a lot of time to waste. And at the same time, I decided to have, a piece of a Kit Kat bar, and I just was kind of sticking it in my mouth almost like a cigarette. Only, I wasn't trying to smoke it. So I was just saying that's kind of how it was. Well, the phone slipped out of my hands. And so when I reached down to grab it, the Kit Kat bar hit the steering wheel flush and shoved it right up into the top of my mouth. If I would have been that much more determined to get my phone quickly, I would have had Kit Kat in the brain. That's not, as I'm sure you think, a Bolivian dessert. I literally would have had a Kit Kat in my brain and I would have died. And the news article would have been local delivery driver accidentally stabbed self to death with candy bar.
That'd be a pretty good.
That would have been my legacy. There.
Good publicity for the team right there.
Yes. Wouldn't that be swell?
Any publicity is good publicity. That's what I say.
Nobody even would have known. But
I thought you were gonna say it got pushed to the back of your throat. You choked on it for a second because that would have been funnier. I think.
Thanks.
If you just would have been
it's nice to know.
Flies out and hits your.
It's nice to know that when my life is on the line, you can think of funnier ways for me to go.
It's only funny if you survive. Okay, if you survive and you're fine, then it's funny. If you die, it's not funny at all.
I am fine. I survived it. It was a traumatic experience. I did finish the Kit Kat bar, so I'm over it. But for that little smidgen of time, it was exhilarating. So maybe I'm a thrill seeker now. Who knows?
Adrenaline just.
I need to chase that feeling.
Yeah. You need to eat Kit Kats more often so you can live on the edge.
And just in case anything ever like that actually succeeds, I don't want a single person at my funeral to say, I'm sure that's how he would have wanted to go. Because the answer is no. That's an incorrect statement. So
how do you want to go? How about we talk about that? How would you want to die? That's the first topic. How do you want to die?
That's dark.
No. Well, it depends on how you take that. You take it as, in the context of be funny about it, or is it a serious question? And in this case, it's not a serious question. And no, I do not want to. I don't want to go at all. So there you go.
Well, I don't know if that's going to work out for you.
I'm thinking.
Are you banking on immortality in the near future? Is that what you?
Yeah, I'm way too stubborn to die.
happening?
Like that's just the way it is. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
The only person who's going to outlive me is Scott, and that's because he is immortal. So
yeah, he will live on past his physical body. That's for sure. There's no way. There's no way he's going to disappear when he dies.
Oh, Scott? No. Mm-mm. Not at all. If anything, he's going to be the actual first Jedi.
Scott, please come back.
We are going to bring a Ouija board to your funeral,
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you're going to want to hear what I have to say. Anyways, so, but just for that actually did happen, the whole Kit Kat thing. But yeah, I was really not actually in any danger of dying, but it felt like it because it was surprising. Anyway, okay, so who would like to go first?
I can go first.
Go ahead, Sam.
So naturally, as I have a guitar sitting next to me and I've been recording my music basically for like 2 weeks straight, and I'm about to record for my band next week, I have music on the brain. So we've had investigations where either I've played music or we've tried to play music off of like a phone or a speaker, stuff like that. And I want to get your guys' opinion on if you think that spirits can have a connection with music in the afterlife, I guess. And do you think it would even make a difference when we play the music versus when we don't play music?
I think that music is a very powerful thing, and it's very good at emitting emotions and feelings. And I think in a lot of situations, especially when it's maybe a trauma-based haunting, that can be possibly a source of healing or even just empathy for whoever's there. And that can kind of build a trust that words or questions can't, I don't know. I've always been like, I listen to music when I'm working because it calms me down. It's very good at getting my anxiety to like calm down. So I find it very relaxing. And I think, we all know certain songs give off certain emotions. And I think that like, I don't know, more like slower, relaxing and meaningful songs can easily bring out a response in a spirit. And like I said, it could also be a source of healing, which would be really cool if it was, because that can be moving. But yeah, I really like it when we bring in music into our investigations, or at least when it's appropriate, because not all investigations, it's not always the first thing that comes into our mind for every single investigation is what song can we play or what music or what, like, how can we use this? We don't do that for every single investigation, but it's typically, at least in my experience with the team so far, is when it requires, a little bit of empathy, a little bit of relaxing or uplifting of the mood or something like that. Yeah, I really like it when we both play music and like have like actual live music, like Sam has said that he's done before. I think it's very powerful. It's very moving, and I really like it.
Yes. Yeah, I think that music is something that the spirits relate to. I think it can. Music from their own era can. We can figure out their era. Can inspire them to be more active, I think. And music is powerful for all of us as well. When I was in college, we had a huge banner hanging in the college church that said, "Those who sing pray twice."
Mm.
And, and according to the Christian tradition, or especially the Catholic tradition, there are 9 choirs of angels. One of the choirs of angels, I think it's the seraphim. It's either the seraphim or the cherubim, one of those two. But I think the seraphim, all they do is sing. That's their entire existence, is singing to God, singing the praises of God, singing. That's their whole existence. It's song. And I say, well, music, the entire universe, the entire cosmos plays music. The vibrations and frequencies in the cosmos creates music. NASA and other agencies have recorded some of that and published it, and some of it is really beautiful and some of it's pretty creepy too. But yes, I think music is everywhere. Well, this side of life and on the next side of life and everywhere in between. I think every dimension that exists has music. And it's a very powerful force in all of them.
Yeah. Give me a second here. Okay, so I got a great surprise for all of you here in a couple seconds.
Oh,
so,
God.
All right, sorry. So, to your question, I mean, yes, obviously, I think music is very, very important. Only because, as Lauren was saying, it reflects certain moods, and not only moods but memories. Like when we played, why is it escaping me? Because it's like the only song we ever
Amazing
flip and
Grace.
play. Amazing Grace. There we go. Like when we played that in a church. I mean, that is something that not only is going to spark a mood, but it's going to spark a memory. And that's what we want. We wanted to spark, the memory. Not only that, but, even beyond just mood, but feelings, whether, I'll just use yesterday again. Even though, it was a pretty good day or whatnot, all of a sudden, Future So Bright, Gotta Wear Shades comes on. I'm like, yeah, I'm just, all of a sudden it was like the greatest day in the world. So much so that I wanted to share with all of you, to which none of you said a flipping word, but that's okay. I'm not upset by that at all. Say what?
I forgot.
Of course you did. So it's all right. It's not that big of a deal. But yeah, I mean, and we've done it where we've tried to go one or the other. You've played, actual good music, and then I've come along and played really bad music on purpose, but that's all I can play anyway. Unless you give me like a recorder, I can play Me and Hot Cross Buns, but that's about it. So in fact, I'm going to share with all of you that little snippet from Ashmore Estates where
we haven't seen this in a while.
Yes, and I think it's something that just needs to be dragged back every once in a while so everybody can witness it. So for everybody who has not seen this yet, and I don't think I've ever played it on the show. I played it for us, obviously, but we tried to do an experiment at Ashmore Estates. This was the second time that we were there, where you played music, like actual good music, your music, that came from your heart and your soul. And
Mhm.
we wanted the spirits to, I guess, interact with our equipment to let us know that they appreciated that, or do something. And then we decided that I would then take my father's old accordion, and which has not been played in years and years and years. Um, Depending on your definition of play, that could be something else too, even longer. But and then I would play that, even though I don't know how, in hopes that they would set it off the equipment to get me to stop, which they didn't do. So maybe they appreciated my effort, or maybe they thought that it was just as hilarious as everybody else did. Could be.
Or they went
But
as far away as humanly, well,
Oh,
spiritually possible.
you could not escape the music of the accordion. I'm sorry. There is no escape from what I did there that night. So
Trans-dimensional accordion playing.
maybe, but I
It's a
think
new genre.
I think it might be. I don't know what it's called, and it shouldn't ever get a name, but we'll see. So I'm going to play that for everybody because Dave recorded it on his phone, and yeah. So basically, the accordion just fell apart as I'm playing it. But I caught it and kept on trying. So A for effort, I think. But here you guys go. So I just want to do this really quick. Hold on. Whoops, I didn't want to do that. All right, here we go. Oh, God have mercy on all of us.
37 seconds.
This was supposed to play. I think what that's enough.
Yeah, that was a special moment to be a part of. That's for sure.
Like I said, A for effort. Let me just tell you, it's not easy playing the accordion while you're trying to actually like hold it. You need the straps. That's all I'm saying. So, who knows? Maybe they sabotaged it. So thinking that would make me stop. Oh, were they in for?
Who knows?
I don't know who Myron Florin is. I'm assuming he's
He was on the Lawrence Welk show. He was the accordionist.
My mentor for the accordion is Weird Al Yankovic. So
that's who I think of when I see an accordion.
Well, there's only like two people in the entire music industry ever in history, Myron Florin and Weird Al Yankovic, that play.
Yeah, it's not exactly a popular instrument, but yeah, Weird Al popularized it for sure.
A little bit of polka, that's all. So I'm sure one of these days we'll try that experiment again.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just gonna have to make sure that I get it fixed and updated. And we'll bring it back some place where we think the spirits deserve that torture. So so that's my answer. I definitely think music is very important, especially if you don't feel like you're reaching them. I think it's also can be used to kind of build a relationship, because I've done that multiple times during investigations, not Amazing Grace or anything, but when we were at West Virginia State Penitentiary. I mean, I know none of you were able to go to that, but we played Elvis over the phone, and because that was obviously really really popular back then when the prison was still open. And I know BJ was with me at that point in time, and he was feeling like they were responding to it. We never got anything from it, evidence wise, but energy wise, he could definitely feel it. So yeah, I mean, that's definitely something that we can do and probably should do a little bit more of. It's just with the whole turn off your phone, blah, 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 it never really occurs to me well, we got to turn this on now. Plus, if we play it loud enough, if we're separated, they're going to hear that throughout the location. So it's one of those things where it needs to fit certain criteria to work.
Yeah. Definitely has to be a thing where we're all together when we're
either
doing
all
it.
together, or the location is so huge that you're not going to bother anybody by doing it. At West Virginia, you were in like different cell blocks, and like there's no way you could hear through foot thick of concrete and 400 yards away. So we were pretty safe in doing that. So that's the only kind of, I don't want to say downfall of it, but the downside of it that we have to watch out for. What about you, Sam? I mean,
yeah, I like that Scott said that music is like a part of the universe, because when it comes down to it, when you break down notes on a scale, it's just a different wavelength. It's just a different hertz value. So those sounds exist in nature. You can get sounds that are naturally tuned to a note or detuned. However, we've just found a way to obviously put a scientific scale onto notes and categorize them. So I think music is definitely something that is natural, and I think something that, especially us as humans, utilize to convey emotions and ideas a lot. And music has been around as long as humanity has been around. So I think every spirit that was once human can relate to music, can connect with music. They don't even have to know what it is. Like, you don't even have to know what the lyrics are saying. You don't need to know the song. You can connect with how something sounds, if it's in a major key, a minor key, and that's connected to an emotion inherently for people. So I really do think it makes a difference. And we do have the my experience with playing music at an investigation, I think it was during the day on Saturday, our second time at Ashmore, and I went with Haley and Jeff into the dining room and I played some music while they were watching, and we set up a recorder and we set up a REM pod. And after I got done playing the song, we waited for like 30 seconds or so, and the REM pod started playing. Our REM pod started going off in the other room, which was a very cool experience. If those hits can be trusted. But yeah, so I think it's an effective tool, and it's a tool that I think a lot of paranormal investigators use, I think for good reason, because it's kind of a, it's kind of a no-brainer. If the spirits that resided there were once human, they have some sort of connection with music. No matter their background, no matter where they come from, people just connect with music. So I think it's a powerful tool for sure.
Sweet. Who would like to go next?
I can go.
Go ahead.
So I recently got asked this by I think it was like a friend or something that was like, oh, what do you like do on a paranormal investigation? Like, didn't really know what it was. And I guess I've never thought about this, but so I know I usually bring a backpack to an investigation. I know Scott usually has a bag of stuff. Everybody brings their own things, whether it's snacks, protection items, flashlights, whatever you have. So what is in your bag when you go on a paranormal investigation? What do you bring with you? What do you need to have every single time, related to the investigation or totally not?
That's a good question. Have you seen those YouTube videos where celebrities do like a "What's in my bag," where they like do items I can't live without sort of thing? It's kind of
Can I be super nerdy for a second?
Yes, please do.
I watch What Is in My Bag Disney Parks edition. So what people bring in their backpacks into the Disney parks.
Of course you do.
No surprise to anybody here, but you know.
No, surprising no one.
Nope.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I don't have much in the way of protection items. Basically, all I'm bringing to an investigation is my team shirt, my team hoodie, a jacket, usually, unless it's like in the like dead summer where there's no way you would ever need it. And I'm bringing snacks and water. Water is a very important thing for me because you're doing a lot of walking around, but other than that, not a lot of strenuous activity. But I think when you're concentrating for that long and listening, it saps moisture. Like your brain is working, so your brain is using a lot of water. So it's really important for me to have enough water to stay hydrated. And that's pretty much it. Snacks to, usually on breaks, everybody's eating something because, again, brain food, like everybody's hungry. It doesn't matter if we always have a big dinner before we eat, and yet everybody's still hungry on an investigation. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I pack pretty light, just the essentials for me.
Scott.
Okay. I start out with flashlights. I usually have at least 2 or 3 flashlights with me, one for me, one for Sam, and one for Haley, in case they need them. And I have batteries for the flashlights, and I always have a couple of extra just in case Mike needs an extra one or something. I have my K2. No. I don't carry any protection items because I wear my protection items. And geez, I can't even remember what all I got in there.
There's a lot of shit in there, Scott.
Yeah. But, sometimes I'll bring snacks if it's a longer investigation. I know my mind just went blank.
Don't forget about your surge protector.
Yeah, but that's not that's in the other bag.
Oh, that's the other bag. Sorry.
Yeah. Sometimes I got 2 or 3 bags with me. It depends on if I'm going to do a house cleansing, then I've got an extra bag with all the stuff for that. So that's it.
Well, I mean, as everybody knows, I haul all the equipment, so just set that aside. I honestly don't have anything. It differs every time. If it's
you have a Coke, almost every time we're on investigation, you have a Coke.
Because it's usually because I'm tired.
Yeah.
So if it is like something where I'm going to be home in like 20 minutes, then I'll probably do water. But if it's 2.5 hours away, if it's down in Iowa, if it's, anything like that, then yes, I will have a Coke for caffeine. And then I will probably buy something to munch on because eating keeps my brain awake when I'm driving home. I mean, yeah, I'll have a mouthful or whatever when we take our breaks, but usually I'll buy a little extra if it's going to be a long drive home. So that's about it. The only thing that I guess I have with me, and this is like everywhere I go, it's not just investigations, is I have a small, I'm sure you guys have seen that small pouch that was given to me by Kim that has a bunch of quartz and, tourmaline and stuff like that. If it's a particularly maybe possibly negative type investigation, I will wear the bracelet that Jerry made me that's got like the chakra beads and then tourmaline and then some pumice on it as well, and then the eagle's claw necklace that is wrapped in tourmaline and stuff like that I made Kim give me. But otherwise, beyond that, I don't go with anything. If it's like a regular invest, like at Leduc, you'll probably have some sort of snack and probably Coke, depending on how tired I am. It is a Friday, so I'll be working that day. So chances are, there'll be some caffeine involved. So, that's it for mine. What about you, Lauren? What's in your bag?
Yeah, so
Lauren edition.
Yeah, the biggest thing I have in there is my camera, because I usually go through, take pictures. I have a like nice like a DSLR camera or whatever it is. That takes up most of the space in my bag. I usually bring like a pen and paper just in case. I don't know why, but if I needed to write something down, I have it just in case. Like phone, wallet, keys, flashlight. And then in the little pouch in the front, I have like batteries for my camera, my charger, and then my protection stuff, which I made a little protection bag that's like this big. And I put in there my rosary, all of my like saint medals that are also in that little pouch with them. And then my little, it's like kind of like Mike, what you were saying, little pouch of protection crystals specifically for protection. In addition to that, I usually, before we go on an investigation, look at what crystal bracelets I want to wear, see what's grabbing me and what protection I want there. And then also just pick some of like the larger like pocket stones that I have. But that usually depends on like what kind of investigation it is. Like if it's something like Mike, you were saying, that might be potentially darker, you bring like more protection focus. If not, I usually bring like grounding crystals, and then stuff that just like helps you see and hear clearly and clears your mind and just helps you focus and zone in. But I think that's about everything I have in my backpack that I bring with me, aside from snacks. Usually something chocolate and an energy drink, but I'm trying to get away from that. So yeah. It will be iced tea is my caffeine to get me through the night. That's all it will be.
That's fair.
Yeah. Two other things that I always have in my bag that I forgot. One is my laser grid, which I don't always use, but I've always got with me. And the other is my ultraviolet flashlight.
Which you don't use either.
I do, yeah.
I've seen you use it a couple times.
Have you? I don't know if I've ever seen you use it.
Well, I'm usually the one investigating with Scott, so I'm
yeah,
around him more often than you are.
That is true. All right, Scott, you want to go?
Well, this I'm not sure if I asked this one before. If I did, you can tell me. But follow up on your near-death experience.
Yeah.
If you knew the exact time and date of your death, would you try to avoid it? And would you want to know it?
feel like you've asked that before.
Did I?
Or maybe I don't know. If nobody else agrees with me, then probably not. But
I
I
think
honestly don't remember.
I think that a question of if you had the chance to know how you were going to die came up, but not the like exact date and time, and would you try to avoid it? So I think it's a kind of an offshoot of another question that we have done, but it's still a good one in general. Take it away, Lauren.
I don't want to know anything about it. I am perfectly okay sitting here not knowing, because knowing me, that would put an immediate countdown on my life for the rest of my life until it ended, and I don't want to live life by like almost like a bomb clock, like it's gonna go off at a certain time, because then I'm just gonna be worrying about it. So I just rather not know. Yeah, I don't need to know anything about that. It's fine.
yeah, I would agree with that. I don't want to know. Don't want to know. Don't see how that would be useful for me, except bringing on my crippling anxiety.
Yup.
Well, as somebody who doesn't have crippling anxiety, fuck yeah, I want to know. Not because I think that it would take, or, put a countdown clock on it. I think that it would actually be more freeing because I wouldn't have to worry about it. We all, even though we probably don't think about it, none of us know if when we wake up in the morning, if it's the last time, or, are we going to get into a car accident at work? Are the roads going to be icy and we're going to slide off and roll and, something bad's going to happen. I would think for me, and me, I just love to know. I need the information. I think that if the countdown clock or whatever it was 35 years in the future, I don't have to worry for a very long time. And I think it would be more freeing for me to not have to worry about is this the last day? Have I said what I need to say to the people, that I care about? Have I are they going to find embarrassing shit if they search my stuff, after I'm gone? I That's just my take on it. I obviously, I think if the countdown clock or whatever was like 13 hours in the future, then yeah, I'd probably get some anxiety at that point in time. But if it's way when I'm 95 or whatever and the death was natural causes, I'm all right with that. So would I try to avoid it? I guess the question is, can you? I mean, aren't we looking at what is the movie Destination?
Final Destination.
Final
Right.
Destination. There we go. Final Destination. I mean, I don't. Can you avoid it? I mean, if that is the way that you are supposed to go, I would think that there's no way around it. And if you do, you're probably screwing something up. And sooner or later, it's probably going to catch up to you and do horrible, horrible things. But a thought came to mind as I was talking about that now and gone. So, but yeah, I guess I look at it. I respect your guys' opinions on that. I completely understand them. And if that works for you guys, absolutely. But for me, I would just like to know. Scott, what about you? I mean, you're never going to die, so I guess you really don't have to worry about it. The countdown clock just has an infinity sign on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I just keep coming back over and over again.
You're like Mario Brothers. You just keep getting extra lives.
Yeah. Yeah, if my past life regressions are true, then I've been around for at least 3,000 years. Um, uh, but I don't know. I think it depends on the day. Some days I think I would like to know, and others I don't really care. Um, um, to be honest, there are times when I think I've already lived longer than I wanted to. Um, um, and there are other times I think, well, my dad lived to be 91. His uncle lived to be 96. So I could have another 30 years or more ahead of me. Um, uh, but to be completely honest, I think I fear living another 30, 40 years more than I fear dying. Um, um, and part of it is I believe that I know what's on the other side of dying, so it doesn't frighten me. Um, and in some ways, I actually look forward to it. So I would not mind. I would not mind knowing when I was going, because to me, it's something to look forward to, not something to fear.
Yeah, I mean, and I even agree with that. I guess one of the good things about what we do is we know that this isn't the end. And it's not even so much that I fear me leaving as opposed to what am I leaving behind, and
Mm-hmm.
to my friends, my family, the people I care about. Have I done everything that I've wanted to do? Uh, for them, with them, uh, in general. I think once that is completed, and I feel like uh, that has been satisfactorily uh, done, I'd be like, all right, I can go now. And it doesn't mean I'm going to. It's just one of the things, and it always broke my heart actually. Um, is My grandma used to say, not all the time, but every once in a while, um, she would say that she is ready to go. And sometimes even like so ready to go. So, I mean, even though when she finally did pass away, it was sad for me. Um, for a while, I took some comfort in knowing that it's what she wanted. It's one of those where she probably been like, finally. Um, and I think, honestly, I hope we can all get there. Because that just means that we've lived the lives that we've wanted to, and now it's just bonus time. So, but hopefully we have many, many, many decades left to go before we even have to worry about that sort of thing. All right.
Yeah.
Did you want to add something, Scott?
Well, as far as family and friends are concerned, that you were mentioned, I really believe that I will see more of them from the other side than I do now. So, I'll have more
That's
contact with
fair.
them.
That's fair.
No.
I am not in that position either. So, all right, here we go. All right, so now, you guys have been on a lot of investigations. Um, you've seen, kind of how it's done, how we do it. We've worked with other teams, how they do things. You've seen it on TV, how they do things. And even though you guys had to go through it with me, um, there's, and you guys don't have to take anything that I have said, anything that I have asked. But for people who are looking to maybe start their own team or looking to join one. It's kind of a two-part question, although it kind of merged into one. In your experience and your opinion on everything that you have seen, and again, you don't have to agree with anything that I have said or anything that I have asked, but what do you think are the qualities that people should have and look for in a paranormal investigator? And if you are interviewing or trying to find one, what are some questions you think really need to be asked in order to find your candidate?
First thing that comes into my mind in terms of qualities of an investigator is empathy and skepticism. That's the word.
Yes.
There we go. Empathy and skepticism, I think, are two very important qualities. And I mean, we've gone over why it's important to have a healthy amount of skepticism before. Like, you can't take like some random creak in a house to be like, oh my God, that's somebody trying to say something. It could be a million other things. So you have to be a little investigative around that and try to find natural explanations for things. But the reason I say empathy is, especially when you're dealing with residential cases, it's usually somebody's reaching out because they're scared or they don't know where else to turn. And you're kind of their last, you're their last chance in a lot of cases. And odds are what's happening in their house is truly frightening them or their family or their kids or whatever the situation may be. In that case, you can't go in thinking, oh, these people are crazy. You know, you have to have a healthy dose of empathy and try to realize, you know, try to look at it from their point of view, and be there for them because they don't know where else to turn. I think that's really important. And it's going to give you a healthy level of professionalism as well with how you handle these cases, which I think for paranormal teams is very important that you go in with a professional attitude. You take it seriously. You don't joke around, especially when it comes to residential cases, again, because you're dealing with people's lives, basically. They're bringing you into their lives for a reason. So those would be, I think there's a million qualities you could say, but those are my top two, I would think. When you're interviewing a potential investigator for a team, I would try to figure out what their end goal is with getting involved in the paranormal. I think that's really important to figure out where people's main, oh God, I'm blanking on the word again, not initiatives, but like what drives them in this field and what they're hoping to accomplish. Because if it's just to go into a scary building and have some experience and run out screaming, might not be, I mean, it could be what you're looking for in your team, which is it's your team, you do what you want. But I know that would not fit our team. And that's not how we operate. So every team has a different personality to it. So you got to make sure that if you're interviewing somebody, they fit with your team feng shui, if you will. Yeah, I think goals and their intentions are very important. So you could ask a million questions to figure out those, but ultimately I think that's what a good interview would focus on are, yeah. And also how they react when maybe something doesn't go as planned. And if something does, if something unexpected happens, are they going to run out screaming? Might, again, on a residential case, not a good idea. Anyway, I'm ranting. I'll let somebody else take over. But yeah, that's a really good question. And you could, I mean, that could easily be like a multi-part program of what to look for and what qualities are best. And yeah, so I'll pass it off to somebody else now.
I feel like definitely somebody who is a good listener, like, so, I mean, literally, and just like is willing to kind of step out of the way and let a moment happen, you know, and isn't somebody that's just like speaking up at every moment and like, I don't know, just somebody that has the personality where they are going to absorb what's happening in the room and listen to what is happening in the room and let a moment be a moment. Definitely somebody who has a philosophy of being respectful towards spirits, and obviously the people who are, you know, reaching out to you to investigate their home or helping out with a certain problem that they have, having that philosophy to be respectful of the spirits and the people that are actually doing that, I think is a very important it's a very important quality to have. Somebody who is going to problem solve, you know, somebody that likes to get to the bottom of problems and things like that. And I think that goes along with skepticism for sure. Not being the kind of person that is accepting everything at face value is definitely a good attribute to have when you're a paranormal investigator, because it's going to solve a lot of problems for your clients, but also solve a lot of problems for yourself. Because, you know, it's just going to make sure that you're going to find the natural causes for things that are natural, and you're going to rule out every possible explanation before you even turn to the paranormal. Yeah, those are kind of the main ones I can think of that weren't what Lauren said.
All right.
You're up.
That was perfectly
I know that was a
timed.
really good. Yeah, I know that was a really good answer. Thank you for doing that fanfare.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about the need of music. Yeah. So, so I agree with what you said. I think a healthy skepticism is important. Skepticism, but not cynicism. You have to at least be open to the possibility of that there are spirits there. No, I think if you go there completely convinced that there is nothing there and you're going to prove it, I don't think that's a good attitude to have. So, but to go in and say, I want to see it. You know, I'm not necessarily going to believe it before I get there. I'm open to the reality of it. I'm open to seeing something, because if you don't believe you're going to see it, you're not going to. Even if it's right in front of you, you're not going to see it if you're convinced it doesn't exist. But the curiosity is very important. I think the ability to be yourself and hold to your opinions, even when others don't necessarily agree with you, and be able to express your opinion when you don't agree with somebody else. But being willing to change your opinion if somebody gives you evidence, you know. So being open-minded is something that's very important, I think. And the willingness to admit when you're wrong. So yeah, and I agree with the empathy and the other things that everybody said. And I think looking for those things in an investigator are important. I like the way you do that, Mike, when you're interviewing new people for coming in.
Which I haven't had to do in a long time, which I'm very happy about.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
There was. Is that your answer, Scott? I don't want to interrupt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
There was one quality that I was looking for one of you guys to say. None of you said it. I'm actually half disappointed.
Well, we saved it for you.
Patience.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Sam, you kind of alluded to it when you
Yeah.
were talking about
like
being a good
half alluded.
listener and letting the moment happen. But patience is huge, absolutely enormous. I don't know, Lauren, if I asked you this question because maybe I just, based on your other answers, I didn't feel the need to have it happen to ask. I don't think Sam and Haley even went through the interview process at all. It was
It
kind
was
of
basically an email exchange.
well. I
And
mean,
then
there was a little bit. I mean, it was
that was our on-site interview for
well,
sure.
right. But I mean, it was a lot of what Lauren was talking about. What are your goals? What are you actually looking to do? Why exactly are you reaching out? And one of the reasons that I took you on was because you were honest about it. And that's another huge thing is honesty, integrity. If you're not, if you don't have the integrity to, call yourself out, to make sure that you've put evidence out that is actually evidence and not just something that you want to trick people into thinking is really cool. If you definitely need the integrity, but the question that I used to ask people, and I haven't obviously in a very long time, is if nothing happens, like personal experience wise, 3-4 investigations in, are you okay with that? Because as we have seen, it can be quiet. Yes, we get evidence, but personal experience wise might be nothing. And if they start to get impatient, then they start making mistakes, and they start saying stuff they shouldn't. They try to rile everything up. They get frustrated when I'm okay with that. Like when I'm okay with it, nothing's happening. Um, I agree, Sam, being a good listener, but going right along with that, uh, learning, being able to be a good learner.
Hmm.
I have had several investigators come through where 2 or 3 investigations in, they thought they knew it all and didn't want to learn anything else. And that obviously butted heads with me, and they didn't last very long. But this is a long road to learn. I've been in it 10 years, and you will never hear me say I know it all. I'm still learning even to this day. I learn every week. Every time Lauren, Dave, and I did a show on sleep paralysis, I learned shit about that I had no idea. And sleep paralysis is a huge part of what could or could not be paranormal. So I mean, you're never done learning in this field. I don't care how many books you read. I don't care how many investigations you've been on. And unless you accept that, you're never going to be a good investigator. You can go out and screw shit up left and right for years and years and years, but you're never going to make a difference. You're never going to help anybody. And maybe you don't want to. There are teams out there who they don't help people at all. They go to haunted locations and that's all they do. And if that's their ticks, have at it. But obviously you guys are all correct. Empathy is huge. Being a good listener is huge. Knowing why they want to do this is huge. Yeah, I mean, you're right, Lauren. There's 1,000 things that you. The best part, though, and this is one of the things that I absolutely love about this team, is can you get along with each other?
Mhm.
because you're always going.
That was the point I was going to bring up, and then I forgot. It's just like, yeah, you need to not hate each other.
We don't
Like,
necessarily need to hate each other because I mean Scott talked about it too. I've had a lot of investigators come through who did not want to disagree with me. That kept it to themselves. Whether what they really thought, or I actually had. I was thinking about this as you guys were giving your answers. I've had new investors come in, and they had questions about why I did this or why I did that, and I had other investigators who had been with me for a while tell them not to tell me. Don't ask him because he's going to get mad. I'm like, why the f would I get mad? If you if you have a legitimate question, if you just want to know why I did this, and maybe you have another idea, you guys all know you can bring that to me, and chances are you're probably right. So I mean, I'm not always right. I see things a certain way. Sometimes you guys see things differently, and the way you see things makes more sense because I miss this or I miss that. It happens. We all do it. So I mean, I love the fact, and people who have known me for a long time might find this surprising. Love the fact that if you guys disagree with me, tell me. You think I'm full of shit? Tell me. I I don't, bring it on. And if you're right, I have no problem admitting it.
mhm.
So I mean, can you get along with the rest of your team?
I think
You
that
know.
goes along with respect. Like you need to be a respectful person, and I think that honesty stems from respect. Like everybody on this team gives their honest opinion about everything, and yeah, that includes like disagreeing with you, who is the leader of the team and stuff like that. And we openly do that, and I think everybody we hold everybody on this team to the same standard, and like you know everybody respects everybody while also respecting the fact that there are multiple right answers to things and we don't have to argue about everything, but just having the respect to be you know like you said, just not being a yes man to the person who's perceived as the leader of the group, because that's not a very good environment, to be honest.
I mean, and you guys know that I ask your guys' opinions on almost everything.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I would like to do. What do you guys think? And if your
Mhm.
guys' idea is better, I go with that. There's one that pops up in my head, but there may be one or two others where I have legitimately been, this is how it's going to be, and shut it down there. But otherwise, and that's an extreme. They're extreme situations where it's just like, nope, this is how it has to be. I know you guys don't like it, but I have my reasons, and that's just what has to happen. But like I said, very few and far between has that ever taken place. So yeah, and you're right, Lauren. That could be a show in of itself. I mean,
Yes.
maybe it will be. Just talk about if you're trying to start a team, if you're trying to join a team, what to look for, what to ask, what
Mhm.
what qualities can you look for in yourself to think that you're going to be good at this. I mean, there are a lot of people out there, like I was, like you guys were, where you just legitimately want to learn and you want to help,
Mhm.
and you want to do it for the right reasons. But are you going to be good? Is this something that you can actually do, and be successful at it? Um, Lauren, you talk about that all the time. Whether this is something that you would have been able to do, and yes, it is.
Go
So
me. Well, didn't think it would be, but here I am.
that's right. A year and a half later.
I mean, when I went out on the first investigation, I didn't think it was going to turn into me being on a team and doing all the shit that I've done the past almost 3 years. You know, it's kind of it's crazy. You don't think you can do it, and then you are doing it, and then all of a sudden, like, oh wow, I have experience doing this. You know, so it is kind of crazy. I would say, like, as a kind of a bottom line, if you want to be on a team or start a team because you have a genuine fascination for the field and you are curious and a person that wants to learn, I think that is the right place. If you're doing it from a thrill seeking perspective, I would try roller coasters instead.
Or like haunted house attractions.
Yeah, or haunted house attractions. Or go on pay bullshit $100 to investigate with TV personalities and then get the fake good experience out of that. Because if you do it for real, you can really hurt yourself. You can really open yourself to a lot of bad things and get a lot of bad things that happen to you. But also, like, I think that just kind of turns you into an asshole. You know, the bottom line, you know, obviously from our perspective, if you're running around places, you know, provoking and just being an angry person trying to rile things up, that doesn't really show a good character, in my opinion. It's just like, if you're doing that to probably some of the most vulnerable people, what are you doing to actual people that are alive? You know, so that's just the things that I think about.
Yeah, absolutely. All righty. Well, that does it for this episode of the Odyssey Hour. So thank you all for coming in and spending some time with us this evening. We'll be back next Wednesday with another new episode. And yeah. So for all of us, stay healthy, stay safe. We want to see you back here next week. Everybody have a great night.